We are a manufacturer specializing in small precision screws. With research and development for material and shape, we manufacture next-generation screws that are smaller and better for the environment. Our screws are used in digital devices such as smartphones and computers, as well as watches, glasses, and cars. One example is the water-resistant smartphone Iluga, manufactured by Panasonic. In the smartphone industry in Japan, where water resistance is becoming a standard, our screws make a contribution to high water resistance and downsizing. Our screws with built-in O-rings have the highest water resistance in the international specification standard. Water does not get inside even when it's submerged continuously in meter-depth water. O-rings used to be built by hand and was impossible to mass produce. However, by making this process automated, we can now mass produce. Our screws have extremely high intensity. They are used on bumpers of cars and as attachments to collision reinforcement material. We are able to manufacture the smallest screws in the world with 0.3 mm in diameter, but also with high intensity. We are proud to have the largest mass-producing system in the world for the 0.8 mm micro screws, which are most used screws in general industries. Tapping screws for resin, manufactured in collaboration with Eya of Germany, can connect to resin directly without the female screw. By using our small and high-intensity tapping screws, you can expect an improvement in freedom of design from reduced cost and space. Since we have full automation, we are able to manufacture 250 million screws per month. Automation is not only for building in O-rings, but also for the manufacturing and packaging. Since our foundation in 1977, we have been manufacturing micro screws in large lots. In this current society where downsizing and densification are accelerating in digital devices and others, we hold an established position in Japan as a manufacturer specializing in micro screws. Our unchanging corporate philosophy is to keep challenging, and we actively work on research and technology development. We also have been successful in reducing the environmental burden and have been approved as green partners by each company. Ultra Steel Screw is the first practical product of ultra-fine steel structure. Because of its remarkable performance, Ultra Steel allows screws to be ultra-small and highly intense and decreases the environmental burden during manufacturing in half. They are expected to be the next generation screws. It has been known that refining the constituent particles of steel would make it stronger and tougher, but its practical use has been difficult. In collaboration with the National Institute of Material Science, we were able to mass produce the ultra-fine steel structure in practical level for the first time in the world. Previously, it was essential to do heat treatment processes in order to ensure processability and strength. With the ultra-miniaturization of crystal structure, we accomplished higher strength than the existing heat treatment while decreasing the manufacturing process. Without the heat treatment, we were able to develop the smallest screws in the world. Although it is easy to enhance strength by adding alloy elements, it lacks in recyclability since it is difficult to reuse. Ultra Steel is achieving the high strength by using ultra-fine grains of standard composition without any alloy elements. Therefore, Ultra Steel screws are extremely high in recyclability. Ultra Steel structures environment management systems and the thorough management of chemical substances and are used to reduce greenhouse effect gases and promotes material circulation and biodiversity conservation. Gunmetal screws are made with a brand new titanium alloy called gunmetal, which possesses the opposite qualities of flexibility and high strength. Gunmetal overturned the conventional image of flexible metal having low strength. Gunmetal screws have various functions such as biosafety, corrosion resistance, a shine like precious metal, and unlimited processability. The use is unlimited from devices in spacecrafts, medical devices, precision instruments, or glasses and sporting goods. Gunmetal is a highly balanced metal. It has high strength against tugging, but also has flexibility. The limit value of restoration from strain forced on the elastic metal is called elasticity limit. The elasticity limit of gunmetal is no comparison to previous steel. Gunmetal screws have the highest strength in the titanium alloys. Characteristic that has wide temperature range with a small coefficient of thermal expansion is called an invert characteristic. Compared to the standard invert alloy, gunmetal has this invert characteristic with an extremely high temperature range. The processing rate of gunmetal is 99.9%. For example, a material with 30 mm thickness can be flattened to 0.03 millimeters. Characteristic that has consistent flexibility with a wide temperature range is called an Ilimver characteristic. Gunmetal has Ilimver characteristic with an extremely high temperature range. We are able to correspond to specialized needs of our customers by using gunmetal as screw material. For the TDL3, with specialized heat treatment, we made the surface extremely hard while making the inside still elastic. In addition, we were successful in developing high-strength screws that are resistant to delayed fracture by refining the grain size with specialized elements and processing method. It is surely the best solution to the strength problems microscrews tend to have. By enhancing strength on the surface, it can resist a higher tightening torque than previous products. Furthermore, since it reduces the friction resistance during tightening, it can reduce torque on tightening modules that consist of multiple parts. High-strength screws has overcome the risk of delayed fracture by refining the crystal grain and enhancing the toughness. Although ultra steel indicates high fracture torque without heat processing, TDL3 has the highest fracture torque in our lineups. Delta PT is a tapping screw form for resin developed by EA in Germany. Since it can be tightened by making the pilot hole in the resin, it can reduce the cost and space by not requiring the processing of a female screw or nut. Delta PT has an extremely unique thread ridge and thread root, and they can minimize the damage on the resin material when it's tightened. It allows repeated use and thin hub design. Furthermore, since the thread ridge is sharper, it can be tightened with lower screwing torque. Since the screw has large contact area on the resin, it has extremely high locking effect. Delta PT is now the de facto standard of self-tapping screw for resin used in the automobile industry in Europe and America, and are used widely in various parts of cars. Using a tightening simulation software, Delta Calc, specialized for Delta PT, we can do accurate simulations for the optimal hub design. By using the form of Delta PT and TDL3, we can expect overwhelming downsizing, space reduction, and cost reduction. Our screws are small, rigid, completely waterproof, and self-tapping. It simplifies designs and processes and will allow cost reduction in your operations. Our environmentally green next-generation screws can help you solve issues and stride to the future.